All right, Seema Iyer back on the panel here, as well as Tom Borelli, Newsmax insider, joining us now. Tom, welcome. We'll start with you here. Why are we seeing claims by Secretary Azar and Dr. Bright that directly contradict themselves?
Well, I think when you really take a look at it, I think Dr. Bright, just like John Bolton, is looking for his 5 minutes of fame. From what I understand, whatever Dr. Bright was complaining about, it was well known within HHS that we needed more protective equipment for medical workers, and the whole issue with hydroxychloroquine, he looks like a clear hypocrite. But that doesn't matter these days. He can go to Congress and he could be a hero of the anti-Trump groups, around the country. So I don't think there's anything really there. I think Dr. Bright is actually embarrassing himself. And I think at this point, from what I've seen, he deserves to be embarrassed.
Well, we've heard from President Trump calling Dr. Bright a disgruntled employee. We know that he was ousted from his position at HHS, but he was still invited to stay and work on coronavirus response. He could be doing that right now. Instead, we saw him testifying again this last week. Seema, your response to seeing this all kind of play out in real time, again, someone who would have been ousted from their position, making this all very, very public.
It just doesn't make any sense. Think about it. If you're going to be a whistleblower and you have that courage to come forward with your complaints, why would you have signed the directive to begin with? And then knowing that you signed the directive, knowing you're going to have to explain yourself for it. So frankly, his actions just do not make sense. He shouldn't have signed the directive from the beginning. He should have followed the proper procedures to make those complaints about signing that directive.
Yeah, and Tom, this got a lot of headlines last week, a lot of news organizations focusing on it. Obviously, 60 Minutes doing the big follow-up here. Why do you think it got so much media attention, and where do you see this really going?
Because, Emma, as we know, we're living in a very divided country politically, and someone like Dr. Bright just really provides really raw material for the anti-Trump media and for the Democrats really to, criticize President Trump. And what's really sad about this, though, however, is distracting from what we really need to do. We really need to unify against the virus. This is really outrageous. After the attacks on September 11th, the whole country was united. It didn't matter whether you were a Democrat or Republican. Now, whatever happens, they're blaming President Trump. Even former Vice President Joe Biden, is trying to blame President Trump for being nice to China. And, it's the Biden the Biden vice presidency, he had the problem with China, and he doesn't even think China represents an economic threat to us. So again, everything is being politicized. We just need to focus on the facts and the context of which these, accusations are coming out.
Yeah, it seems to all be very political right now. And of course, we are hearing from these medical experts during this time. But even Dr. Fauci last week had said, I know the medical facts, but I can't give advice on the economic impact that the virus is having on the United States as well, which we know is just undescribably terrible at this point. So, it just shows how many voices you need, how many experts you do need to consult before making these huge decisions. That's Seema Iyer and Tom Borelli. We appreciate you both. Stick around. We'll hear from you in just a little bit.